If NATO would create a no-fly zone over Ukraine, this would mean that we would have direct, NATO forces would have to enforce that, meaning they would have to fly over the area and shoot down anything that flies. That would help the Ukrainians, and however, this would mean that they potentially have to shoot down Russian planes. And if we have NATO forces directly targeting Russian planes, it means that we have a potential for a third world war, and we don't want that. We don't want that as a world. It's impossible. It would be literal suicide for NATO to do this. This is the entire reason how the Cold War was fought, where usually one country was fighting against a superpower and was supplied by the other superpower, because the two superpowers fighting against each other would mean that we are on the brink of a nuclear war and of Third World War. And this is what we didn't want. This is what we saw repeating again and again during the Cold War. Let's take Vietnam, for example. Communist Vietnam was supplied by China and Russia, while the US forces were in the south. So we had indirect fighting there. The North Vietnamese communists were fighting with the help of communists from the other countries, get the supplies, and were fighting against the American soldiers. But the Chinese and the Russians were avoiding to get their troops in there in direct combat with Americans, because that would mean directly fighting against the other superpower, which we can't do. Because then it could result in an escalation, that we have a full-on world war, and in the end possibly that someone is firing their nukes at the other side. So this needs to be avoided, and this is sadly so NATO can't do anything like a no-fly zone.